For generations, a little white rabbit drawn with the simplest black lines and a few bright colors has been a kind, quiet comfort to millions of children around the world. Her name is Miffy. She doesn't shout or sparkle. She's calm, curious, and honest, and somehow that's exactly what makes her so powerful. This is the story of how one small rabbit, growing up during a family holiday, became a symbol of childhood itself. It's also the story of her creator, Dick Bruna, the gentle Dutch artist who believed that less is more and that children deserve art that truly respects them. So, how did a handful of lines and colors turn into one of the world's most beloved characters? Miffy wasn't born in a studio or in a publisher's meeting. She was born from love during a family holiday in 1955. Dick Bruna was spending time with his wife and one-year-old son Cirque in a seaside village called Egmond aan Zee. Every evening, as the waves rolled in, Dick would tell his son bedtime stories about a little white rabbit, inspired by a real rabbit they'd seen hopping through the dunes, or maybe by Cirque's favorite toy. One night, Dick began sketching the little rabbit from those stories, and when he did, he made a simple decision that changed everything. He decided that the rabbit should be a girl. He later said it was just because he liked round dresses more than trousers. But a small decision gave Miffy her identity. That gentle moment when her father and his son, a bedtime story turned drawing, would quietly become one of the most beloved creations in children's history. To really understand Miffy, you have to understand Dick Bruna. She isn't just something he drew, she's him. In a way, his patience, his honesty, his love of quiet things, all in one small rabbit. Dick Bruna was born in Utrecht in 1927 into a family of publishers. Everyone expected him to take over the company. But Dick had other plans. His father sent him to London and Paris to learn about publishing. And it was in Paris that everything changed. There, he discovered the works of artists like Henri Matisse and Fernand Léger, artists who used bold colors and strong, simple shapes to say so much with so little. Bruna realized that's what he wanted to do too. When he returned home, he joined the family business, not as a boss, but as an artist. He designed book covers for the Zwarte Beertjes or Black Bear's pocketbooks. Tiny books sold in train stations that would catch a traveler's eye in just a second. He made over 2,000 of them, each one carefully stripped down to its most powerful direct image. That's where he learned how to communicate with clarity and warmth. Skills that would later become the heart of Miffy's world. Even great artists took notice. Georges Simone told Bruna that Picasso himself once said one of his covers looked like a poster, and that was meant as high praise. Gerard Rietveld, the famous Dutch designer, once pointed to one of the shapes and said, "That's a nice little form, boy." But Bruna always stayed humble. He said, "I have a small talent, and it must very hard to do something with it." He lived simply. He biked through Utrecht every morning to his studio by the Dom Tower. That routine made him happy. Quiet, steady work, day after day. "For me," he said, "happiness is getting on my bike at the crack of dawn and heading to my studio." That life, clear, simple, and full of quiet purpose, became a blueprint for Miffy herself. Miffy's world looks so simple that it's easy to overlook how much skill and care is behind it. Every tiny detail in those drawings, every line, every color, every shape was chosen for a reason. Her black outlines, for instance, aren't made with a pen, but with a brush that gives them a soft little tremor, what Bruna called a heartbeat. It's that slight imperfection that makes them feel alive, human, and warm. Her gaze is always direct. Miffy would look straight at you. Bruna rarely drew her from the side because she wanted children to feel seen, to know that she's talking to them, not about them. And then there's the color. Bruna mixes his own paints, creating what fans call Dick Bruna colors. Warm reds with a hint of orange, yellows softened with red, deep friendly blues, and greens. Never purple though. He didn't like it. The books themselves are tiny squares, just 16 by 16 centimeters, perfect for small hands. Bruna wanted children to feel like the books belonged to them, not to their parents. That sense of ownership, of safety, is part of Miffy's magic. And when it comes to motion, Bruna said more by trying less. A single tear on Miffy's cheek can carry more weight than a full page of text. In Leave Oma Pluis, Dear Grandma Bunny, when Miffy's grandmother dies, there's no dramatic scenes. Just one small tear, one small rabbit, and somehow it's enough to break your heart and comfort you all at once. That's what makes Miffy timeless. Speaks softly, but she always tells the truth. The stories themselves are as carefully built as the drawings. Miffy's world is warm and familiar. Home, garden, friends, small adventures. Everything feels safe. But Bruna never talked down to children. He believed in telling them the truth, simply and kindly. He once said, "Take children seriously. Be just as honest with them as they are with you." And he lived by that. In Dear Grandma Bunny, Miffy learns about that, not through fear, but through love and remembrance. She helps her grandfather plant flowers on her grandmother's grave, creating a kind of little garden, just like Grandma used to have at home. In Miffy Cries, she loses her favorite teddy bear and feels truly sad. The book doesn't rush her feelings away. It stays with her until she's ready to move on. In Miffy in the Hospital, Bruna explains illness and recovery gently and clearly, turning fear into understanding. He didn't hide life's difficult moments. He made them smaller, simpler, and kinder, so children could hold them without being overwhelmed. In the Netherlands, she's always been Nijntje, short for Konijntje, little rabbit. But outside the Netherlands, that name caused confusion for years. Every country had its own version. La Petite Lapine in France, and something else in Japan. Finally, in 1996, they decided she needed one universal name. They chose Miffy, a name that doesn't mean anything, but sounds friendly and simple in almost any language. It worked. Today, Miffy's books have sold more than 85 million copies and have been translated into over 50 languages. She's not just Dutch anymore, she's everyone's rabbit. Miffy is everywhere now, not loudly, but lovingly. In Utrecht, you can visit the Nijntje Museum, designed just for little children. You can see Dick Bruna's old studio, preserved exactly as he left it. You can even spot Miffy in traffic lights, helping people cross the street. At Nijntjepleintje, a small square near the Oude Gracht, there's a bronze statue of Miffy, made by Bruna's son Mark. It's small, gentle and humble, just like her. In a world that's often loud, busy, and complicated, Miffy offers something rare, quiet honesty. She reminds us that stories don't have to be big to be meaningful, and kindness and simplicity never go out of style. That's why, after all these years, children reach for the small white rabbit and always will. This video is dedicated to Dick Bruna. May he rest in peace. Goodbye.